You're listening to the Radio Wammo Breakfast, only on Kiwi.
Hey Sam, would you have any objection to performing a take in your underwear? It's beautiful to watch. You're having a good time. He didn't have the socks in the audition. Socks are good. Okay, I'm ready, man.
It can only be Iggy Pop talking with the many musicians around New Zealand through the internet as part of the Orcon promotion to make a song and an advert featuring Iggy Pop re-recording The Passenger with a bunch of New Zealand musicians who competed to be part of the whole entire project. And to talk with us about it is Duncan from Orcon this morning, and also Miho Wada, one of the musicians. Hello to you both.
Hello.
Hi.
Duncan, boy, we spoke at the beginning of this promotion, and we weren't really sure how this thing was going to come together. You knew you had Iggy Pop.
Yep.
Yeah, at that stage you had no musicians.
That's right. We had no musicians at the start, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking, putting it out there to the public. How would it go? Did people still love Iggy? Who knew? Yeah, but they did. It turned out they did. We had over 200 auditionees make a video, upload it to Facebook, and some amazing auditions.
And no doubt, the quality of the auditions probably would have varied. I checked out a few myself, and it was like, yeah, right. Moving right along.
There's certainly variation in quality, shall we say? But there were some absolutely amazing ones in there. That obviously 9 of them that we picked, but also some other ones where people just put in obviously hours and hours and hours to kind of make and edit and create these amazing videos.
Yeah, and people could have done anything. They could have just done shakers. Yeah,
they could have done absolutely anything. And we did have a few pretty left field ones. We had a burlesque dancer, which was pretty unique. We had someone playing a saw. There was some pretty interesting instrumentation came through.
Were you looking for more interesting instrumentation? Not just the classic, guitar, bass, and drums.
Yeah, definitely. The intention was not to just remake The Passenger. The intention was to kind of make a new, interesting version. So we wanted some interesting stuff to come in and really make it unique.
Yeah, and one of those musicians, of course, was Miho. First of all, Duncan, tell us why you chose Miho.
Well, it wasn't me that chose Miho, so
you and your band of judges.
So I guess what happened was we took the 200 auditions. We picked out our kind of favourite shortlist, I guess, which was probably about 30 or so of the auditions. We then sent them up to Iggy. Miho was obviously in that 30, and Iggy himself went through those 30 and decided that we wanted 8. Iggy couldn't get it down to anything less than 9, so we had to go with 9, and obviously Miho caught his attention.
Yeah. So Miho, you're a multi instrumentalist, aren't you? You play all sorts of things.
Yeah, I play the flute, saxophones, and the piano, and sing.
So how did you know what instrument you were going to go with?
Flute is my favourite, so I thought, I only had about 10 minutes before the closing time, and I just knew about it, and I was like, I better do this, so I quickly got my flute out and just went for it.
No way, 10 minutes. And 10 minutes, and then you got through easy on that. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and we know you through your own original music, which we've been playing on Kiwi FM.
Thank you.
Particularly Such a Loser, which is obviously about a boyfriend, no doubt. Is it not?
Imaginary one or whatever.
An imaginary one. Yeah. Well, you brought in your flute. Can you play just like a little bit of what you did? Yeah. Well done. So you did it was kind of the melody, I suppose, eh?
Oh, it was a bit from The Passenger.
Yeah.
We've been listening to that.
That's the melody part of the song. Duncan, how did it all come through on the day?
Yeah, so we obviously picked the 9 people about a week before we did it. Let them know, and hooked up those that weren't Orcon broadband customers already. We hooked them up with Orcon. And on the day, a little crew rocked up at everyone's house at about, I think, 6 o'clock in the morning, and kind of set up the audio recording equipment and a couple of cameras. Got the Skype connections working up to Miami. So Iggy was sitting up in Miami with literally a bank of computers. It looked like kind of NASA headquarters shuttle launch kind of thing out there. He had 9 different MacBooks sitting in front of him, and it was quite intimidating for him actually, because it's really funny with this whole project. The first day that I talked to Iggy on Skype was in fact his first Skype call ever. So
really,
so sort of 2 weeks later, or I guess about a month later at this point, to be sitting in front of 9 New Zealanders Skyping to him up in Miami was quite intimidating for him, I think, when he walked in.
He's such a consummate performer. He seems so natural, like he's done it all before.
Absolutely, yeah. So, and then he kind of he coached or talked to each of the 9 performers, including Miho, and kind of.
He was really nice.
Yeah.
He was really full of compliments and really happy all the time.
And funny.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was really compelling television. I was sitting here for kind of 8 hours in New Zealand watching the whole thing via video link, and it was really compelling watching it. He's such a natural performer, I guess.
So Miho, you knew what to do at the right time. Was there any confusion at all?
Not really confusion, but the song wasn't put on the track yet, so we just sort of had to go for it with the click track, and I wanted to accompany his songs in a sort of, tweedy sort of way, but it didn't quite happen. So I thought I'll just lay down all the ideas I've got in my head, and they can pick whatever they want from that.
So they didn't. No one was playing all at the same time. It was all individual tracks.
Individually, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then they could layer it up a little bit later on.
That's the one.
Because I was a little bit worried when because I saw the preview of it, or that was the rough mix. I think it was called. And I was like, oh man, this sounds like some kind of crazy din, like a bunch of people who don't know each other just gotten together and just played what they want.
Yeah.
But that was the rough mix.
Well, I mean, that was just assembled literally in a few minutes on the day as they got the audio tracks, layered them together. It's just so Iggy had something to lay down a vocal on top of. So
can you be honest, Duncan, and tell me how the technology went? Yeah,
absolutely. So I guess the Skype worked brilliantly, and I think Miho can probably be a more a less biased judge, shall we say, and tell you how Skype went for her, because I mean she was talking to Iggy on the day.
Skype was working fine.
Wasn't too jerky. He wasn't,
It was fine. It was just like talking to your friend on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And friend.
Well, he's probably your friend now, right?
Hooray!
Can you call him whenever you want?
Oh, I don't have his number.
So Skype worked brilliantly in that regard, in terms of Iggy being able to coach each of the musicians up. Then I guess the other component of it was the video feed, which we had running all day. As I say, I was sitting here in Auckland watching it, and it did work perfectly all day. But then we did have a slight hiccup, I guess, when we went to do part of the day was going to be a public stream of the Iggy laying down his vocal, basically. And something went wrong. We still don't know what it was. But as is the case with technology, as soon as sort of 1,000 people decide they want to do one thing at once,
Murphy's Law and all that.
So the video came through fine, but the audio, something went wrong. So whether it was something,
but that was only for the public watching the live.
That was only for the public watching.
Actually, tell us about the audio. The audio from say Miho's house back to the studio. Was that Skype audio?
Well, they were using Skype audio just so that Iggy could tell if they were basically doing what he wanted them to do, but they were also recording on the spot and capturing obviously higher quality stuff and then sending that up.
Oh, okay, so it was recorded locally here in New Zealand and then sent.
Yes, yeah.
But the premise is still there that the collaboration happened over the internet.
Yeah, exactly, that's right. So Iggy was collaborating with each of these musicians live, both video and audio via Auckland Broadband.
Does that mean we're not quite there though for that real-time collaboration with both with audio and high-quality video being sent across the other side of the world in real time and recorded?
Well, I think that's really. I mean, I think that's the nirvana that we're heading for, right? Is that day where you could get these 9 New Zealanders to kind of jam all together at once. But at the moment, the way that the broadband infrastructure is you can't deal with the variable latency that all these connections have, all kinds of things. So but I mean, I think what we did was still pretty incredible. But yeah, who knows where we'll go in the future? Yeah,
that's really really open ended, and that's the exciting thing, really, isn't it? Did you find this whole thing exciting?
It was so exciting. I had such a good time.
Yeah, well, and do you have other musicians that aren't in the same city as you that you could or would like to collaborate on this one?
One of the musicians who played the marimba, who's called Takumi, he's a friend of mine. We went to school together, in Burnside High School. and we quite often play together whenever we're in the same city, and we can like practice together over the internet if that sort of stuff was available more.
Yeah, it's now a reality, really, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what we've really set out to prove here is that, we didn't use, with the exception, I guess, of the multi-million-dollar studio up in Miami, everything else was freely available tools. It was using residential broadband that you can kind of buy for $50-$60 a month. It was, there was nothing in there that was sort of unattainable for Kiwis. So
Cool.
Yeah. If you wanted to recreate the whole thing, then you could recreate the whole thing.
All right, we'll play with Iggy. You're going to see it on your telly screens and on an internet connection near you as well. Miho Wada, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And Duncan Blair from Orcon. Cheers.
No worries.